The rain hadn't stopped for hours. Sheets of water lashed against the cracked windows of the Ridgeway Inn, a forgotten roadside motel that had long since slipped through the cracks of tourist maps. Nestled between dense pine woods and an empty stretch of highway that curved like a serpent through nowhere, it was the kind of place that people passed without a glance, or ended up at by mistake. Mia Rodriguez didn't believe in fate. She believed in poor choices and worse timing. At 28, she was stuck in a small town where opportunities dried up quicker than puddles in the desert, stuck in a job that barely paid for her crumbling apartment, and most of all, stuck on the graveyard shift at the Ridgeway Inn. The front office was a yellow-lit box of flickering fluorescents, peeling wallpaper, and an old coffee maker that hissed like it resented still being alive. Mia sipped the lukewarm brew and stared at the reception desk monitor. Nothing but static, again. Storms messed with the signal constantly out here, and tonight's storm was angry. Thunder boomed like falling boulders, and wind screamed through the surrounding pines. Mia glanced at the clock, 2:13 a.m., another dead hour in a dead-end job. Until the door creaked open. She looked up. A man stepped inside, shaking water from a dark coat that clung to his lean frame. His face was sharply cut, handsome in that unsettling way models in noir films were. Eyes a little too observant, smile a little too practiced. "Rough night," he said with a chuckle that barely touched his eyes. Mia gave a cautious smile. "Storm's been going since sunset. You caught the worst of it." "I was hoping to find shelter before it hit harder." He leaned on the counter, dripping water. "Any vacancies?" "All of them," she muttered, pulling out the logbook. "Most people steer clear when it storms, especially out here." He signed the guest book with elegant loops. Name Daniel Blake, no address listed. "I'll take room 6 if that's all right," he said, smiling again. Room 6. Her least favorite room. It faced the woods, always colder than the others, and something about its silence felt heavier. She handed him the key. Breakfast not included. Coffee's free but bitter as hell. Daniel gave a mock salute and disappeared into the storm. The door clicked shut, and for a moment Mia just stood there. The room suddenly felt off, as if a thread had been plucked somewhere in the dark, and now the world waited to see where it would snap. The hours crawled by. Rain pounded the windows. Somewhere, a branch snapped like a bone. Mia tried reading a book, but the words swam. Every creak in the walls felt louder. At one point, she thought she saw movement on the grainy security monitor, room 6's hallway. A blur. But the screen flickered, and it was gone. By 3:42 a.m., she was chewing her nails, staring blankly at the monitor when the phone rang. She jumped. "Ridgeway Inn," she answered, voice catching. Breathing, that was all. Slow, deliberate breathing on the other end. "Hello," she said louder. "Is anyone there?" A soft click, line dead. Mia set the phone down, heart thudding. Just a prank. Storm messes with the lines. Probably crossed wires, she told herself. But the uneasy feeling spread like cold water in her veins. She glanced out the window. Nothing but darkness and trees. Her hand hovered over the radio, about to call the night security, except they'd quit 2 weeks ago. Budget cuts. At 4:10 a.m., she noticed the front door was slightly open. She hadn't heard it. She should have heard it. Stepping around the desk, she pushed it shut and turned the bolt. When she returned, she stopped cold. The guest book was open. She always closed it, always. And below Daniel Blake's name, another had appeared, different handwriting, jagged and frantic. It simply read, "He's not who he says he is." Mia's stomach dropped. She flipped back, nothing. Flipped forward, blank, no pen nearby. Her hands trembled as she checked the log for cameras, but the hallway feed outside room 6 was gone, blank static. Her heart pounded. She reached for her cell phone. No signal. Of course, lightning lit the room for half a second, long enough to reveal something horrifying. Daniel Blake, standing just outside the window, staring directly at her. She screamed and dropped to the floor. When she looked again, he was gone. She crawled to the desk, yanked open the drawer, and found the motel's emergency flashlight. She flicked it on, grabbed the old motel keys, and ran into the hallway, determined to find out what the hell was happening. The hallway stretched longer than she remembered. Her footsteps echoed unnaturally loud. Room 6's door stood ajar. Heart hammering, she approached and pushed it open with trembling fingers. The room was empty. Neatly made bed, no luggage, no wet clothes, no signs anyone had ever been there. Except on the mirror in something red, not blood, maybe lipstick, scrawled across the glass, "I watched you sleep." Mia stumbled back, stifling a scream. She turned and bolted back toward the office, but the hallway light above her burst in a pop of sparks. Darkness swallowed her, then footsteps behind her. Fast. She ran, twisting corners blindly, screaming for help. No one answered. She ducked into the linen closet and slammed the door shut, covering her mouth to keep from sobbing out loud. Then slow footsteps just outside, a pause. A knock on the door, gentle, mocking. "Come out, Mia," Daniel's voice sang. "You wanted to know who I am." The knob twisted. Mia backed into shelves, rattling them. He didn't force it. He just walked away. Or pretended to. 10 minutes passed before Mia dared crack the door. The hallway was empty. She crept out, barefoot and shaking. Her flashlight was dimming. She moved toward the security office. Maybe the backup tape still worked. Maybe she could prove something. But the room was locked. And when she used the master key to open it, she gasped. All the monitors were smashed, except one. It played a looping video of her, sleeping. Different nights, different angles, even in her apartment. She dropped the flashlight. It rolled, casting spinning shadows on the walls. He'd been watching her for weeks. She turned to run and crashed into him. "Daniel," smiling. In his hand, Mia screamed, twisting away, slicing her arm in the process. She kicked him hard in the knee and ran, blood slicking her hand. She turned corners blindly, heart in her throat. Found the fire escape, bolted down into the rain, into the woods behind the motel. Branches tore at her skin, mud sucked at her shoes. She heard him behind her, calm, steady steps, whistling, like this was a game. And to him it was. She tripped, fell, sobbed, crawled. A hand grabbed her ankle. She kicked again, and he let go. She ran again, barefoot now, until a faint light appeared through the trees. A road. Headlights. She burst out of the woods, bloodied and wild, throwing herself in front of a pickup truck. It screeched to a halt, the driver jumping out, shouting, calling for help. Police came. She was safe. She thought. They searched the motel. No sign of Daniel Blake. No fingerprints, no belongings, not even his name in the guest book, just her handwriting. The tapes, the knife wound on her arm, brushed off as self-inflicted in a state of panic. They chalked it up to stress, isolation, hallucinations maybe. She moved, changed jobs, started therapy. But some nights, she still gets phone calls. No voice, just breathing. And sometimes when the rain hits the windows just right, she sees him again, smiling from across the street. Waiting, watching, and she knows deep down he almost had her. And he's not done yet. If you enjoyed this chilling tale and want more spine-tingling stories like it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give the video a like, and turn on notifications so you never miss a nightmarish moment. And remember, sometimes the scariest monsters are the ones that watch in silence. Until next time, stay safe, stay alert, and keep the lights on.